Well, I'm delighted to be interviewing Kenny Thomson, a legend of the Royal High School. And I have to say that I'm the dinosaur that's interviewing you, not the one behind you, Kenny. So my main question to you is, what particular experiences do you recall from the Royal High School that were sort of highlights of your time at the school?
Well, there were so many highlights of my time at the Royal High. I think of playing rugby, which I'd never played before. I think of all the schoolwork that we did. I especially remember being the model for the higher arts drawing class. So all I had to do was sit there very quietly and still, and I wore a check shirt, and all the people in the class hated me. But I think the highlight for me of my time at the Royal High was all the music, which began from the very first day that I spent at the school, and it took me all the way through the school. In fact, I ended up doing music at university, which I never thought I would do.
Controversially, as I recall, because I think you went up to read something else.
Well, I did. I went to do history and economics, and I did music as my third subject. And I kind of worked out that I was enjoying music better, and I was actually better at it too. So I ended up with a degree in music. Without the teaching of the Royal High School and all the fantastic extracurricular music that we had, I would never have been able to do that.
Now you're being a bit modest as well, because I do remember you coming back to the Royal High School and stealing the show, I think, as Dracula in a musical that Howard Duthie was putting on.
Yeah, Howard Duthie put on a thing called the Dracula Spectacular. I can still remember it. I'm not sure I could sing the song. But yeah, that was great. We did shows like that, and there was Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, lots of Gilbert and Sullivan. I remember David Thornton in the English department used to direct those, and I learned lots of new words in the course of those rehearsals. Yeah, we had a fantastic time. We were always on stage at the end of the summer term. We were always singing carols at the end of the Christmas term, and then there were school trips to Munich and Florence, concerts in the Usher Hall. There was just music all over the place, and it was quite natural to do it. I remember, in fact, thinking I might have to choose between rugby and music, and John Murray was having none of that, and I played in the school orchestra in my rugby kit and then went out and joined the rest of the team for the training.
Now you're being very modest as well, because you are also the founder of the legendary KT Singers. So tell us a little bit about the founding of that, and also how you feel about the fact that it's still going strong.
So the KT Singers was a choir that we started. It was a small group to sing Christmas carols and madrigals, I think in my 5th year at school. And we went round some of the local supermarkets and pubs and so on, just singing to raise money for charity. We did it one year. We thought it was quite fun. We did it again the next year, and it's carried on ever since. In fact, it's still happening 40 years later, which is amazing. And the amount that they've now raised for charity is phenomenal and way ahead of anything that we did in my time. And we never quite managed to find a better name than the KT Singers. So I think they're up to KT some very large number. There's a story I could tell you about the KT Singers from about 10 years ago, when John Murray rang me up and said, the KTs are singing in the Balmoral Hotel tonight, do you want to come along? So I went along, and they were already singing. John was conducting, didn't look a day older, and I crept up to the back and joined in with the basses, and I was reflecting as I looked down the stairs at the rest of the choir that they were about the same age as my children at that time, so I was feeling quite old. And then we stopped at the end of that piece, and John said, if you're wondering who the guy at the back is on the basses, that's KT. And the current crop of KT Singers all turned round and stared at me and said, are you really KT? And I said, I really am. And a soprano in the front row said, gosh, we thought you were dead. And I'm not dead, I'm pleased to say, but it was fantastic to see that choir still going and having so much fun.
Very much alive, obviously. Yes.
Alive, and I'm here today with some of the original KT Singers.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
We're going to be singing later on. We're really looking forward to it.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And your experience of the school, are there any particular teachers that you remember fondly? Other than John Murray, of course, who's standing in the wings here.
Well, I'm going to mention John Murray and Howard Duthie, both music teachers, of course. And they're both here tonight with John with Joan and Howard with Alison. And it's fantastic to see them again. Lots of other teachers. Some of us met a few nights ago in preparation for this, and we were remembering in particular Mrs. Ingalls, who was a maths teacher.
Yes.
And Eleanor Mitchell, who was in my class at school, remembered that Mrs. Ingalls arranged with the university that we could do computer programming. And we did it by writing in pencil on squared paper that was then sent to Edinburgh University and run through their mainframe, and we got it back a week later. And Eleanor went on from that experience to be a computer programmer and has worked all around the world in that. So there's another way in which school has changed her life.
Yeah, that's amazing. So finally, we're looking 50 years in terms of looking backwards, looking forward. So you have a message for the current crop of pupils at the Royal High School.
So a message for people who are at school today. With my friends, the original KT Singers, we're singing a piece tonight, and the theme of the piece is enjoy youth while you can. And we never thought about it like that when we sang it 40 years ago, but now we wish we had done even more with our youth. So my message to people at school today is enjoy it while you're there. It's never going to be better.